Yo everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the unhealthy habits that I've developed and struggled with and still struggle with now. Because, you know, I am far from perfect, as a lot of you probably know. But I do find that when I'm just fully open and honest and transparent about the things that I have found quite difficult on my fitness journey, then it helps you guys realize, okay, I'm not the only one who thinks this way. I'm not the only one who finds this really, really hard. I'm not the only one who has to deal with this crap, and that is just a much better place to be than struggling with something on your own or just being in your own head and feeling like you have nowhere to turn. And on top of that, I've got some brand new low calorie, high protein recipes coming your way. I honestly think that today's recipes are the strongest in a while. They are unreal, so I'm buzzing to show you them too. Okay, so before I go to my first meal, I want to touch on the first unhealthy habit that I've really struggled with, to be honest, and that is my reliance on caffeine, but in particular on cans of Monster Zero. And I think this originally stemmed from the time I spent prepping for my bodybuilding show in 2019, because as well as the taste, because I have to say I am a big fan of the taste of Monster. One of the main appeals to me was, of course, that each can only has like 9 calories. So in theory, you know, I knew I could drink like 2 or 3 per day and it wouldn't really have a massive effect on my calorie intake. And it's a weird one because when your goal is to lose fat, it's so easy to just slip into the mindset of letting that take #1 priority over your general health and well-being, even though you know that is so wrong. So I would happily drink 2 or 3 cans of Monster per day if it meant me remaining on track with my calories. But as a result of doing this, I would be absolutely worried to the point I would feel anxious, I would have this brain fog, and my sleep, of course, would be massively affected. And then that in turn would lead to me actually just needing at least 2 cans of Monster the following day to function. And this is a habit I am really trying to get on top of in 2022 because I failed so many times at doing so in the past, but it's going pretty well. So far, I have not had a can of Monster, and it is the middle of February, which is good going. And just in general, my overall caffeine intake is way down. So I will have a coffee in the morning. It's a half caff, so it has half of the caffeine versus the caffeine that a normal coffee would have. And I might have 2 cans of Pepsi Max per day. So that's about 200 milligrams of caffeine in total, whereas before I would easily have double that. And the reason that I'm taking this pretty drastic approach, you know, so going from 2 to 3 Monsters per day to 0 per day, is because I've actually tried to do it in moderation plenty of times before. I've said to myself plenty of times that I will stick to just 1 per day, and that might go well for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, but it always slowly turns back into 2, and then, you know, maybe back into 3 the odd day. So from now on, I think I am just going to save Monster for the very, very odd occasion. So maybe if I'm out and about the odd weekend, or maybe if I'm on holidays or on a city break or something and I wanted to treat myself. So yeah, fingers crossed, this is the time I finally get on top of it. Oh, and I'd actually be really interested to know if I'm completely on my own here, or if any of you guys watching this have picked up some bad or unhealthy habits along your fitness journey as well. So yeah, comment below and let me know what it is that you have found quite difficult. Okay, so let's go to my first recipe, and this one revolutionizes the game when it comes to how you make your eggs, because I've personally always been a big fan of eggs. I like them multiple ways. I like them fried, boiled, scrambled. But this method and this recipe, it blows everything else out of the water. It makes them taste so much better. It's ridiculous. Okay, so I'm gonna start by cracking 2 eggs into a blender jug. I'm gonna add 60 grams of egg whites that you get from bulk, 40 grams of fat-free cottage cheese. And this is a cheeky little way to increase the protein content of your eggs, because in 40 grams, there's only 25 calories and there's 4 grams of protein, which is pretty good. Then I'm going to blend the mixture for about 5 seconds or so. And if you don't have a blender, you can just do it the standard way and put everything into a bowl or a jug and mix it manually. But this way, using the blender, it is going to give your eggs a nicer consistency and make them nice and creamy. Okay, next I'm gonna add my egg mix to the pan on a medium heat. Look how creamy these are going to be. And you want to move the eggs around the pan pretty continuously, just to make sure that they don't stick to the bottom. Okay, we are looking good so far. are nice and fluffy. And then you want to turn the heat off. You want to add 20 grams of 50% less fat cheese, and you want to fold the cheese in. Then I'm gonna plate it up on 2 slices of 60-calorie bread that I have toasted, and let's season with a little bit of salt and some black pepper. I'll just wait until Bruno finishes his drink. Yeah, all good? Okay, so I know you are probably thinking, alright, calm down, it is eggs on toast. We've all had eggs on toast before, but trust me, it is the texture. It is the taste, it is the smell. These smell unreal, so cheesy. That's what really sets it apart. And seeing as this is pretty low in calories, so it comes in at just under 400 calories, 37 grams of protein, really good. Something you could do to bulk up the meal is have a side portion of veg, or if you wanted, you could have maybe a piece of fruit after, or a couple of 100 grams of berries. They are all really good options because they are full of fiber, and fiber is great for keeping you full. Okay, don't you just love a productive morning in the kitchen? And speaking of productivity, I'm currently making my way through a Skillshare class by Skillshare founder Michael Carnjan called Real Productivity, Create Your Ideal Week. And for anybody who knows me and knows me well, planning ahead, time management and productivity are all huge priorities to me. So classes like this are so helpful in helping you create a week in which you can just be as efficient as possible, get so much done, and avoid becoming stressed and overwhelmed in the process. And as a result, this actually just frees up so much time. It's unbelievable. You know, so if you wanted to socialize a little bit more, if you wanted to get to the gym a little bit more, if you wanted to avoid late night study and late night work that prevents you from getting a good night's sleep, this all comes back to time management. And if productivity masterclasses aren't really your jam, they're not really up your alley, then Skillshare have so many classes on a wide range of topics. So photography, video editing, self-care, finding fulfillment, entrepreneurship, optimizing your social media, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So if you would like to get involved, if you would like to level up in a certain area, if you want to learn a new skill, then Skillshare actually have a special offer at the moment for new members. And when you join, you get a 1 month free trial. But this offer is only available for the first 1,000 people that click the link in the description of this video. So if you are interested in seeing what Skillshare is all about for free, then go ahead and do that. And thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Okay, so the second unhealthy habit that I've really struggled with on my fitness journey is going through a period where I became, you know, quite reliant. I'm pretty obsessed with the scales, and I'm sure that is something that a lot of people can relate to, because even though I knew, you know, it was important not to become, you know, heavily reliant on this number, it's far from the be all and end all when it comes to fat loss. It is hard not to. It's hard not to slip into that mindset, because unlike other measures of progress, like how you look in the mirror, how you feel in clothes, this isn't objective. You know, this is a simple number, and you know that if you see this number going down, it just gives you confidence, you know, that you were on the right track. So years ago, I did let it heavily dictate my mood, so I could wake up in the morning, I'd feel great, I could look in the mirror and I could look great, but then I would step on the scales, I would see that it was heavier than I expected for one reason or another, and all of a sudden, that would put me in a bad mood. But I think this really changed for me when I educated myself a little bit more, and also when I nailed down a method of weighing in that I just became a lot more comfortable with. And now, instead of comparing my weigh-ins from day to day, what I do is compare my weekly average weight. So now what I do when I want to get a really good idea of where my weight is at and how it is changing on a week-to-week basis, I weigh myself at least 3 times per week, and then I will add up each of those weights and divide by 3. Or, you know, if I weigh myself 5 times in 1 week, I'll add up each of those weights and divide by 5, and that is my average weight for the week. Then I will do the same the following week and compare the previous week's average weight to the following week's average weight, and so on and so on. And what this does is that it simply just takes the pressure off individual weigh-ins. So even if your scale weight is up one morning because you ate later than usual the night before, before, or you drank more water, or you had a high sodium meal, it is going into a formula with another 2 or 3 or 4 weigh-ins. So that weigh-in still matters, but it just matters a lot less than it would if you were comparing your weigh-ins from day to day. And now that I'm maintaining, so I'm pretty much happy with maintaining my current weight and making the progress that I can, I actually weigh myself even less. So maybe 1 or 2 times per week, just to keep an eye on things. And even if it is a little bit higher than usual some days, I genuinely don't even care, because I know that I could gain a pound of fat, I could lose a pound of fat, and I would still be pretty happy with my physique and just where I'm at in general. And that's what I really love about maintaining, to be honest. It's just way more relaxed than bulking and cutting is. Okay, so it is time for my next recipe, and honestly, this is one of my all-time favorites. And that is a big call for me, because I've made so many recipes. At this stage, it's literally in the hundreds, but it's just so different, and at the same time, it's really easy. It's low in calories, it's high in protein, it's really filling as well. Ticks all of those boxes. So yeah, let's see what you think. All right, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is add 100 grams of spinach leaves to a big bowl. I am going to roughly chop the leaves. Next up, I am going to add 120 grams of cooked and peeled prawns. Next up goes 50 grams of jalapenos that I've chopped into little pieces. I'm gonna add in 100 grams of lightest Philadelphia, which is low-fat cream cheese. Then I'm gonna add some seasoning, so some salt, some black pepper, some onion powder, and some garlic, some smoked paprika. All right, so now I am going to mix everything together. Then I'm gonna add my spicy prawn mix to the pan. I'm gonna add 30 grams of 50% less fat cheese. And I'm just gonna let it cook away on a medium heat for less than 10 minutes. Until the cheese melts on top. And as that is cooking away, I'm gonna get one of these 91 calorie wraps. I'm gonna cut it into 4 triangles. Then I'm gonna spray my air fryer with some 1 calorie spray. Get my little tortilla chips in there. Spray again with some 1 cal spray. Season with a bit of salt, bit of garlic. Then let them cook away at 180 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes.
Reaching out for you, still that's so far away. Looking through the smoke in the mirror. Crazy how I see you so clear. Crazy how I see you so clear. And how you make me smile. And how you make me smile, oh yeah. And how you make me smile, oh baby, how you make me smile. Smile more when I see you. Smile less when I miss you. No, I don't wanna be left alone.
Okay, so what an absolute beauty. Comment below and let me know what you think and if you were gonna try this. And I practiced this a few times, to say the least, and just because I wasn't too bothered making the tortilla chips in the air fryer every single time, I was using these Thai sweet chili pop chips instead. And trust me when I say that this is a unbelievable combo. Okay, so the last habit that I want to touch on isn't unhealthy, but it is something that I've stopped doing recently, and that is going through cycles of cutting and bulking. So I'd say about 1.5 or 2 years ago, I made the decision that I just wanted to stop doing this. It was something that I was doing for probably about 6 years, and in all honesty, I just got so tired of it. Because right now I'm actually in a position where I've gained the vast majority of the muscle that I will gain, and I'm actually really happy with my physique. So for me to start a bulk, lose definition, lose a physique that I'm actually happy with, to then start a cut and have to restrict for 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 weeks or whatever it may be to get back a physique that is pretty similar to the one that I had before I started my bulk, only with small improvements, it's just not worth it to me. You know, it might be to some people, it definitely is to some people who are in a similar position to me, but yeah, it's just not for me. And this definitely hasn't always been the case, because in the past, when there was a significant difference between my cut and bulk cycles, it was 100% worth it, and I wouldn't have the physique that I do now if I didn't go through those phases. But at this stage, I would much rather just sit around my maintenance calories, which is 2,800 to 3,000 calories per day, and make the gains that I can, albeit a little bit slower, and just live my life. And honestly, it is the best feeling in the world, not getting to a certain point of the year, whether it's summer or a different time, and being like, okay, I have to go into a calorie deficit now, restrict myself, and make my life significantly worse for the next couple of months. So yeah, if your goal is to build an impressive physique, is to build a significant amount of muscle, and you are not quite there yet, then by all means go through these cut and bulk cycles. But getting to the stage that I am now, I really do think it's such a great place to be, and I highly recommend it once you do get to a stage where you are happy with your physique. Young man, say hello. All good? You are a fool. But yeah, myself and this young man are going to wrap the video up there. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. And if you did, make sure you comment below and let me know. Every single comment goes a long way, so I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you give the video a big thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. You will not regret it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you are keeping well. And I will see you in the next video.